make we do this.
These are the ingredients for the meat sauce. Everything's listed in the description, but you can get a visual right here. Now, this is lasagna bolognese, but it is tweaked. It's not from an Italian grandmother. It is from a Jamaican man. Okay, so, you know, do with that what you will. Change what you want to change. Like I say, it's your world, but this is what I want to use to make my bolognese. I'm going to tweak this recipe a bit to do a regular lasagna in the future, but for now, here we go. So we're going to start with a mirepoix, which is celery, onions, and carrots. You want to get a pretty fine dice on these. And with the carrots, you're just taking off the ends and cleaning them off. And then we're going to do the same thing. I try to cut the carrots in halves or even quarters, depending on the size of them, and then start the dicing process. Next up is garlic. Give them a smash and then do the same thing. And you know how we do with garlic. Use however much you want. More than I'm using, I mean, whatever. And this is sage, thyme, rosemary. And we're going to do the same thing. This is a scotch bonnet pepper. You're probably not going to get your hands on this depending on your area. If you want, you can use a habanero. Use the seeds or not. It's up to you, however spicy you want it. This is some chicken liver. They're going to do the same thing. Get it really finely minced up. The idea for all of this is really to get a flavor base going as we finish off the mirepoix with the onions here. You really want to layer your flavors. You want to season in those layers so that you can control the seasoning throughout the process. Finely mince your onions the same way that we were doing before with the other parts of the mirepoix, so you can get that in there as soon as we get some oil and some butter going in the pot. Now, I made a couple errors in this video that I will tell you about. First is that was too much oil. It will, based on the other things that we're adding to this, you want to add less oil so that you don't have this abundance of oil in the finished product. The reason I didn't take out some in the next stage when I'm draining is because you got a lot of the juices from the beef mixed in there as well. I didn't want to lose any of that. It still tastes fine. It still holds together if you let it rest long enough, but just be careful how much oil you're going to use depending on what you're adding to the recipe. So this is the ground beef. We're breaking that up in the pot with a wooden spoon in the oil and the butter mixture. You want your pieces very small. I mean, it depends what you like, honestly. I always say it's your world. I like it a little bit chunkier. If you don't, then break it up even more. I added this sausage for, again, another layer of flavor to that flavor base. So we're going to strain the beef. It has all the juices. It has all the oil in there, but we're going to use that to cook the mirepoix in. Again, layers, flavoring in layers. So here we go. And then we're going to add the mirepoix and we're going to add the garlic. And this is the green seasoning. Link to that will be in the description, of course. And just cook that off. You want softened veggies. You see that? Beautiful. Then we add our fresh herbs and the scotch bonnet pepper. Generally, you'd want to add the all-purpose seasoning before this step, but it doesn't matter really. So we re-add the meat and get that mixed up, sauteing as we go. Here's where we add our peeled tomatoes, and we're going to do the same thing like we did with the beef. Use the spoon to crush them up and get that mixed in there. Then you're going to use some of the wine that we're going to use for this recipe to get the rest of the tomato mix out of the can. Add the rest of the wine and add your stock in there as well. And you're going to let that simmer for a little bit. Here we add some milk to thicken it up. Add some fat, some more fat into this. And we're going to let that bubble over a little bit, covered this time. After a little bit, you're going to fish out the bay leaves, give her another mix, see what she's looking at. You see how glossy that is? That little shine, the meat's nice and softened. This is after that long 2.5 hour cook time. That's miso paste, and this is heavy cream now. Add that, give it another mix, and we're almost done with the meat sauce, the Bolognese. We wanted those flavors to marry a little bit, so we let that go. Now it's soy sauce, a little bit more salt to taste, and the scotch bonnet pepper was enough heat for me. But if you wanted more, this is where you could add the cracked black pepper. Now we just needed some fresh herbs for the finished product. I had some frozen parsley and some fresh basil. You can use either or. With fresh parsley, I would rather you do, or a mix of both, and then you get that mixed into the bolognese. And now it's time for the bechamel sauce. Use that QR code. These are the ingredients you're going to be using. Pretty simple. I don't have a microplane grater right now. I left that in the move, so I'm using a regular grater to get some garlic and nutmeg grated up for the bechamel sauce here. So we get some butter in a pot. We're gonna let that foam up, a little bit of browning to it because I like the flavor of that. Swirl that around, and then we're gonna start the bechamel sauce by adding the 2 tablespoons of flour to get things moving as far as thickening up is concerned. Next step would be to add the garlic. We're going to let that butter and that roux do what it do. And now we add some milk. And we're going to do this in stages so that we don't get giant clumps in the bechamel sauce. Keep mixing. Now, the next thing for the bechamel sauce is mozzarella cheese. You want low moisture mozzarella cheese. About half a cup worth of that. And we're going to just slowly get that in. We're going to mix as we go. Sprinkle in as the cheese melts in the bechamel sauce. If things get too thick, you can always add some more milk to thin things out, and just go from there. You're looking to get the right consistency. Add the nutmeg and some cracked black pepper and salt, and you're good to go. Keep mixing that till you get the consistency that you're looking for. For me, it was just about that. So we use some plastic wrap when it cools down, and we're going to make sure that's touching the top of the bechamel. This is for storage because I made this ahead of time. And basically that stops that layer of film forming on top of the bechamel, so you don't have to throw away one layer. And now we can make the ricotta. So I add some seasoned salt to my ricotta, not just regular salt. This is my blend of seasoned salt. It has MSG and some other things in there, and some cracked black pepper. And we get that a mix, and we're going to get that over into the food processor with a couple eggs and some fresh herbs, and get that blended up. Look how smooth that is right there. Beautiful, nice color from the eggs. Now we're going to use oven ready lasagna. I got this tip from Kenji Lopez alt. Check him out on YouTube for his stuff. Fantastic stuff. So with the oven ready pasta, you just let it sit for about 10 minutes in boiling water. You change the water halfway through and move things around so things don't stick together. Now the mistake I made here was that I had too many on top of each other, you know. So with this bunch, this is like 15 in there, and I had to use it as each clump of pasta was one individual sheet of pasta, which sucked. So I had to use some some more of the pasta sheets. I didn't boil them though, I just used them raw. And honestly, I still did not have enough to make up the full 15 because I was not paying attention, honestly. So I used some regular pasta sheets, which you won't see here, but they're at the very top. There's like 4 very thin ones there at the top. Anyway, so we get to layering. In your lasagna pan, you start with some bolognese sauce, some bechamel, then you add 3 pasta sheets and the bolognese on top, more bechamel, and then we're going to add some parmigiano. If you're going to use pre-cooked noodles, use a slotted spoon to serve the bolognese so there's not as much liquid for the pasta to absorb. And then the ricotta mixture. Spread that around and basically start over again. You're looking for 5 layers of pasta, and then you're going to have 2 layers of the ricotta mixture, and then everything else is just as you see here in between and on top of those 5 layers of pasta sheets. So you already see how I was using the uncooked pasta, and then now I'm using the cooked pasta with a bunch of them stuck together as if it was one sheet. Ricotta mixture again, like we were talking about. And now we're almost at the finish line. And there it is. So we're going to pop that into the oven. Now, depending on your oven, how things go, you can be cooking this anywhere from 30 to 45, 50 minutes. And you're going to flip halfway through. But you know your oven better than I know your oven. So you're going to have to make do, figure it out. But you'll be good. I believe in you. I have faith in you. It's your world. And when we're done, this is what things will look like. Again, this is lasagna bolognese, so you're not looking for a bunch of red sauce everywhere. Okay, now you have to let this rest. You have to let this rest at least half an hour. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. Yeah, look at that cheese pull. Beautiful. Guys, this was delicious. I really hope you try to make this. Make it your own. Let me know how it goes, what you changed, or what you added, or whatever. Let me know what it did. Delicious.